You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. President Rodrigo Duterte slams the water concession agreement, saying these put the government at a disadvantage. The Justice Department says it will be filing legal action against the two water concessionaires should they oppose the removal of, quote, illegal and onerous provisions in the water agreements. Also, security concerns over China's possible intervention in the country's power supply. Let's go straight to the source of the story. National Union of People's Lawyers and Bayan Muna Chairman, Neri, former Congressman, also Neri Colmenares. Sir, good to see you again, Congressman. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Pinky.
Okay, water contracts with concessionaires. Malacanang is saying they need to be amended and not rescinded. Is this the right way forward?
Yes, well, in the first place, Pinky, we've always asserted that public utilities should not be privatized because these are important sectors of our society and our economy. So, pinrivatize nila despite the opposition and see what happened now, di ba? From whether kuryente yan or tubig yan, transportasyon. Now, they've realized after years of our opposing and exposing this onerous agreement na onerous nga talaga. So para sa amin, it's void because for violation of public interest and of course, you know, these public utilities, they have security implications also, no? Lalo na pag foreign companies. So I think it should be voided na, the agreements, and it should be returned to the government na, rather than re-privatized again.
Yeah, but the government is saying they just want the onerous provisions removed from the contracts.
Iyan ang problema because the first blow we heard was that these agreements will be set aside, the people involved will be charged in courts, and now we hear a different tone. That, they're not really criminals or they didn't do anything illegal. Let's just amend the onerous provision. It goes back again to privatization. So we disagree with it. But in any case, one of the rare moments when we agree with government that the agreement itself is really unacceptable to the Filipino people.
At a disadvantage, government. But who's to blame for this, Congressman?
Well, both, of course, the concessionaires. Because for their greed of profit, they wanted the agreements to be lopsidedly advantageous to them. Of course, government is at fault. Why did you agree to that? That's why who the lawyers are, who negotiated this, they should be made accountable. So it's takes two sides to tango, and that's why, can you imagine, Pinky? The profit is guaranteed in the concession agreement. That during the entire agreement, government shall guarantee that everything, all profits, rate of return is given. Secondly, everything is charged to the Filipino consumers. Their advertising, their foreign travels, and even corporate income tax. Can you imagine that? The total corporate income tax charged on the Filipino people in the last so many years amounted to about 15 billion pesos. If they have paid 15 billion pesos in income tax, can you imagine how much the income was? So, and they're claiming they're not really public utilities, they're just agents, so we cannot extract from them the standards of a public utility. So, really, and you know what? Even the termination of the contract in that concession agreement, if the concessionaires go bankrupt, if they fail to fulfill their material obligations and the contract has to be ended, MWSS, we, the Filipino consumers, pay them for the termination of contract, which they themselves brought about. So how onerous can a contract be? And all those government lawyers and officials who agreed with such kind of a disadvantageous contract must be really held to account. And we're very worried with these transactions and negotiations.
Amend certain provisions, you're worried about that?
Wala kaming kasi that contract actually makes sure that the public is, in the contract itself, we, you and I, we are third parties to the contract. We don't even have the right to complain. We don't even have the right to file cases. The fact that the arbitration is abroad practically cuts us off. Cuts us off.
Which actually I wanted to ask you, Congressman, if the arbitral tribunal actually said that the Philippine government owes the two concessionaires a total of 10 billion, first a 3 billion,
Yes.
and then another one a 7 billion, is there anything in the contract that actually, number one, is above board, that makes a Singapore arbitral tribunal tell us na tayo pang may utang sa kanila?
Well, government agreed to the arbitration clause eh. That's the problem there. We've always contested the arbitration clause. The first thing it does is effectively taking us out. Wala naman tayong pera para pumunta sa Singapore eh. So it's just them over there.
And can you educate us there before you go on? Why would an arbitration court be abroad for this?
Well, some companies contract among themselves that, oh, let's settle this with a third-party arbitration panel so that, like in the Chico River loan, it is the Chinese tribunal who will resolve this. In the Kaliwa Dam, it will be the Chinese tribunal who will resolve this. So that effectively takes us out. Secondly, we've always asserted this takes out the judicial remedies we have under our justice system. Because now they would say in the contract, well, it's final. They appealed before the Singapore Supreme Court. And the Singapore Supreme Court affirmed the tribunal's decision. Wala tayong kapanapanalo eh.
So yun na nga, being that as it may, and as it is right now, is government mandated to pay that 10 billion, sir?
I think we can still challenge it before our Supreme Court because any foreign judgment that can be implemented here, I've always asserted, can be challenged before our court. Dihado na lang tayo kasi ang sasabihin ng lawyers nila, oh, you agreed to the contract that the arbitration.
That's why I'm trying to make it simple, sir. If in the contract it says the third-party mediator is a tribunal abroad and the tribunal rules that you government owe them 10 billion, isn't that final?
Yes, under the agreement it's final. Okay. But we've always said that there are grounds for, challenging the implementation here. So we will assert that here. And for us consumers, we will contest that before our courts if ever they want to implement it sa atin by increasing the rates.
We'll be taking a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, former Congressman Neri Colmenares. Sir, so you're saying that the other alternative would be to file a possible case before the Supreme Court. Are you planning to do this?
We're considering that. In fact, this afternoon, we're going to file a petition, MNWSS muna, to stop the rate increase this January. There's a scheduled rate increase this January. Can you imagine forgive me, kapal talaga. After all this fiasco and these onerous agreements, mag-i-increase ng rates. Total yan, 6 pesos 50 cents per cubic meter. And that's huge. I mean, so we'll consider that. And the best is government takes it up. Consumers, nauubos na yung oras namin sa kaka-file sa mga kaso on public utilities. So maybe government should take it up. Put their money where their mouth is.
Public utility, let's talk about NGCP, energy, sir. I had Senator Win Gatchalian asked him plain and simple, is there anything illegal or unlawful about China owning 40% of NGCP? The answer was no. But how big of a threat, if any, is this to the country?
Very big. In the first place, public utilities like the grid should not be privatized. That's the
first. As you were saying with water.
Yes, because you can be subjected to the vagaries of the market or private people who... Secondly, what's more dangerous is not just an ordinary stockholder who NGCP is beholden to. It's a Chinese stockholder. And usually most of these Chinese corporations are state corporations. Is China having control of the largest stockholder at 40%? Dangerous, yes. Not only is it a foreign, entity, but it is a disputant in the West Philippine Sea. China cannot be trusted. China, in fact, has violated our territorial rights in the West Philippine Sea. What happens if the new president, and usually Filipinos, they say, choose the new president is usually different from the incumbent president. What if the new president is Arroyo was pro-China, Aquino was anti-China, Duterte is pro-China? What if the new president is anti-China?
That's going to pose a
Now-
problem.
Correct. Now, because we are going to assert the tribunal decision, we're going to assert the West Philippine Sea, China will treat us differently now. So that's a bit of a problem.
So
And
because of that, it's to you simply, if it was another country, it would be less of a threat, or plain and simple, it should not have been privatized.
it should not have been privatized,
number
much
one.
more with another country. You see, the NGCP said, oh, China cannot hack it, etc. We have SCADA system
Yeah.
that will ensure. And I found out, in the first place, if you're a 40% stockholder, you're the largest stockholder, and you're there saying, I have no control whatsoever in the company, I'm the largest stockholder of. Secondly, I found in their annual report, 2014 to 2040, they said not all their systems are SCADA. So that already defunds everything. Secondly, in their SCADA, they admitted in their annual report, it's vulnerable to cyber attack. So they themselves admitted in their annual report that their SCADA cannot stop a cyber attack. And thirdly, even if they say it's immune to cyber attacks, China has proven, and many hackers have proven actually, that anything can be hacked now. So don't tell us that our grid is safe from China when in fact it's the largest stockholder in that company.
Okay. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. We will continue this conversation in a bit. At this point, though, I'd like to thank you, former Congressman Neri Colmenares, for joining us here. Thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.